All right, go ahead and spread out again. We're gonna do some stationary stuff first, and Coach Chris and I are gonna kind of volley back and forth. First thing we'll do, go ahead and get down just in a plank position, just to kind of warm everything up in your body first. So when we're in our plank position, let's go hands directly under shoulders, and let's go feet the same width as your hands. And you're gonna try to keep everything in your core as tight and as stable as possible. And I just want you to reach your left hand up and just touch your right shoulder and then put it down. And then just alternate back and forth. Just try to get 5 each side. We're not in any rush. And just make sure that everything in your body is as tight as you can get it. I'll take you through a little sequence and then Coach Christian will. Same thing from this position now. Just raise an arm straight up in front and back down. Try not to let your hips sway. Try not to let anything else in your body move except for the arm that's moving. And now from here, you're gonna go up, and to those of you who've done yoga, this is the down dog. So you're trying to make your body into basically a triangle. So you're gonna feel a really good stretch in your Achilles and your calves, trying to get full shoulder extension, and then you'll come down to a cobra. So you're gonna go head up, hips to the ground. So that would be 1 rep. So let's get 5 of those. Once you've done that, bring your foot up so your toes are in front of your fingers. Arms are inside of your knee. Get that back leg as straight as you can, and just look up and reach up. Same arm as the leg that's forward, and then come back. So up. And just get 3 each side. 3 reps each side. And then Coach Christian will get you.
Right, so instead of being on top of the toes like we just did that stretch the whole time now, we're gonna be digging our big toe and digging our toes into the ground. Once you guys get there, I wanna push my butt back all the way. So everyone try that out. We're gonna slowly push on up, just like Coach Allen told us, into that downward dog. There you go, push all the way up. There you go.
Nice.
And then now from there, we're gonna come all the way forward into that plank. So now our knees are still off the ground. Our arms are still locked out. Now let's keep our hips up high too. We won't drop them to the ground yet, okay? And again, just like Alan told us, let's bring that foot up outside our hand. And again, just like Alan showed us, let's reach up towards the ceiling. Perfect. Once I bring that hand back down, I'll go ahead and put my foot back. Let's bring that next leg up. There you go. Let's bring that same side arm up. There you go. Let's come all the way back now. And we're gonna go through that again together. So once I put my hand flat, I'm gonna push my foot back and then push your butt back to your heel. There you go, keep your knees off the ground still. We got our butt back to our heels. Now lift all the way back on up again. Perfect, and then from there, let's come into a plank. So pull yourself forward. Butt comes up. I come into a high plank position. Let's go right foot first. Right hand reach. Right hand come down, find your knee. Find the elbow, 3, 2, 1, the last thing we're gonna add. The right hand, right, still off the ground. My left foot, I'm gonna bring it up and kick in front. I can put my butt straight onto the ground. There you go, perfect. I'll do that one again, don't worry, I got you, hold on. I'm here in the plank. The same side hand, right, that was reaching is off the ground. I'll put my hand wider if I need to, and then slowly bring that foot forward. Perfect, got it now. A little bit of yoga, right?
I don't know if you guys can fully appreciate how challenging that is. I mean, you probably can since you just stood up. And a couple things, for those of you that could actually see Coach Christian when he was doing it, I mean, he is technically perfect and precise in everything that he does, which is one of many reasons that I wanted to make sure that he was here. But it's important that you don't play the comparison game. If I went through that and I compared myself to Coach Christian, I'd feel pretty bad about myself because I can't do it to a fraction of the degree that he can. But I'm not here to compare myself to him. I'm here to compare myself to how good I'm capable of being. So I saw some of you even make progress just in that little short window. By the 4th rep, you were already getting better. That's all that matters. None of us should be in search of perfection. Every single one of us should be in search of progress. That's all that matters. And he demonstrates this stuff so perfectly. So don't feel bad if you don't do it as well as he does, ... yet. If you stick to it and you get in the millions of reps during the unseen hours that he's put in, eventually you'll get there.
Now we're gonna work on starting from a position of disadvantage, okay? So now we're gonna utilize to the half court and back, okay? So I'm gonna start here on the ground. the next person in line, so somebody back behind me will tell me when to go. So I'm reacting now, okay? I'm starting with my chest flat, my hands off the ground. When the person behind me tells me to go, I'm gonna push up off the ground as fast as I can. Obviously that wasn't fast. I'm pushing up and I'm taking off in a full sprint all the way to the half court line. Once I sprint and hit this half court line, remember, I wanna plant, so plant that foot down hard, try not to go all the way over the line, okay? Plant right at the line, and then we're shuffle sliding in a sprint all the way down to where we started. Sound good, everybody? Real simple, right? We start on our stomach, sprint and side shuffle. So if we start here, guys, on the ground, and I start with my butt up, right? And my hips not really into the ground, that's not gonna be a great place for me. So before I even start, I wanna squeeze my cheeks. We've already been talking about that a lot today, right? Squeeze your cheeks and pull your belly button up towards the ceiling. Does that sound good right there? So that when my person tells me to go, I'm already tight. I'm ready to go. I don't have to get tight and then press myself on up. Sound good right there? Cool, guys? Okay, cool. Let's try that out. Let's go. Remember, just 2 times. That's it. 2 times, okay? Go ahead. There you go. So, shuffle, 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 shuffle. Get there, get there, get there, get there. Nice. Someone got a partner? Everybody got a partner? Squeeze your hips, squeeze your hips. There you go. Go, 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 go. There you go. So did you see next time when he has his hips, he has his feet off the ground and his butt is kind of like to the ceiling. So next time tell him to like squeeze his butt into the ground. All the way down, all the way down, all the way down. There you go, there you go. Very similar, okay? Now we're backpedaling to the half court, and then we're still shuffle sliding back, okay? So I'm facing away from the half court line. I'm still here on my stomach. My partner tells me when to go, okay? You guys are pushing right on up and right into your back pedal. Once you guys see the half court line, put your foot down, and we're shuffle sliding still all the way back. Sound good, everybody? 2 times again. Sound good? Go ahead. Go ahead, y'all. Go to it, straight to it, straight to it. Sorry, back pedal right into your shuffle slide. Back pedal right into that shuffle slide. Stay low, stay low, stay low. We got one more, very similar to this now, okay? Now, I'm gonna start here on my back. Okay, my chest facing up towards the ceiling. What I want to create is something called a hollow body. So it's the same thing, that same position we were trying to feel on our stomach. I'm pulling my belly button down instead of up now. Does that make sense, everybody? I squeeze my hips, pull my belly button down. I'm gonna hold here, okay? Give yourself about a 5-second hold. You know what, I'll twist this way. Once I'm here, I'm gonna rotate and then go into a straight sprint. Roll, and then I'm going right into a sprint all the way down to the half court line. Once I get there, I'm gonna touch the line and I'm sprinting all the way back down. We got 4 times, 2 times over each shoulder. So I'll roll to my left and go, I'll roll to my right and go. We are only sprinting now. Does that make sense, everybody? Please touch the line. Please chop down, touch the line, and then get back, okay? Last one, just like this, guy. Here we go. 4 times, 2 over each shoulder. Your partner does not need to tell you anymore. You can go on your own now if you like. 5-second hold and then get up. 5-second hold and then get up. Roll, roll, go, go, go. Yep. And then when it's time to go now, when it's time to go, roll your whole body. Go, 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 go. There you go. Hold it, hold it, hold it. Yeah. And whenever you feel ready.
I had a few stories that I just wanted to share with you guys because I'm a big believer in the power of story, because I think stories are really sticky and they help us remember things that are really, really important. It was over 10 years ago in the DC area, which is where I live, that a really good friend of mine, he's a scout for the Chicago Bulls, and his job with the Bulls is to watch all of the best players in college to decide who the Bulls are going to draft that year. And Syracuse was in town to play Georgetown. And this was 10 years ago, so this was back when the Big East was the Big East. And both teams at that time, and I wouldn't name any players, but Georgetown and Syracuse both had 2 or 3 players that were legitimate first-round picks. And the game was a 2 p.m. tip-off, and he called me the night before and said, hey, I'm going to be in town. I've got to watch this game. I'm watching these few players. Do you want to come watch the game with me? And I was like, yeah, I got nothing going on. That would be great. And he said, all right, I need you to meet me at the arena at 11. And I got a little bit confused because the tip-off was at 2, and I couldn't think why we would need to be there 3 hours before tip-off. I figured he thought the game was going to start at noon. And he said, my job is to watch these guys when they don't think anyone else is watching them. That I want to get there early to watch their pregame shoot around and watch their warm up and watch what they do with the strength coach and watch them go through their walkthrough. I need to see if they're coachable. I need to see how serious they are in their preparation. I want to see if they treat, the building service staff with the same respect that they treat their head coach. I need to be there when no one else is there. So we went there very early, and true to form, other than a few people kind of sweeping up, there was no one in the gym except for these teams going through their walkthrough. And they weren't doing it at the same time. They had to space them out. And he took probably 5 or 6 pages of notes on what the guys were doing to prepare. And most of it had to do with character, had to do with were they coachable, how serious were they in preparation. He wasn't writing anything down about their athleticism or their skills. He knew that part. But he wanted to see them when no one else was watching. And once again, I won't mention any players' names, but there were a couple guys whose draft stock went way up because of the way they behaved when they didn't think anyone was watching. And there were a few guys whose draft stock went way down. And the moral to that story is twofold. One, you need to act as if someone is always watching you. Everything you do, anytime you're anywhere, you need to behave as if your coach is watching, as if a teacher's watching, as if your parents are watching. Because if you always act as if someone's watching, when you find out that they are, you'll be fine. And the other thing to think about, when it comes to basketball, let the only reason that you don't make it to the level that you want to make it be simply because you're not good enough. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. There's a ceiling to every one of you on how high you can play. Don't let it be because of something you can control, like your effort or your attitude. Don't let the reason be that you don't play college basketball because someone questions your character, or someone questions whether or not you're going to work hard, or someone questions whether or not you're going to prepare. Don't let that be the reason that you don't make it. Let it be simply because you're not good enough. And while that will sting when you're your age, when you get older, you'll be able to sleep soundly at night because you'll know that you controlled everything that you could control and you did the best you were capable of, and it simply wasn't in the cards. And I know that might not mean a lot to you now, but it'll mean a lot to you when you're older. Don't let it be for the things you have control over. Another story that I love to tell. So I've been able to have some personal relationships with some pretty good players, and those guys are always going to be very, very important to me. But my favorite player that I don't have a personal relationship with is Steve Nash. He's a little bit before your time. I don't know if you guys understand how good of a basketball player Steve Nash was. You know, he was doing a lot of Stephen Curry stuff before Stephen Curry was even Stephen Curry. I mean, his ability to shoot and handle the ball, I mean, it was off the charts. And for those of you that have studied the game, you know that back in the early 2000s, he won back-to-back MVP titles. I mean, think of your favorite player in the game right now. He hadn't won back-to-back MVP titles. Like, that shows you how good of a player Steve Nash was. And in 2004, when he won the first of those back-to-back MVP titles, he only led the NBA in 2 statistical categories. One of them, as you'd probably guess, is assists, which is the sign of a great teammate. It's the sign of a great leader. It's someone that likes to share the sugar and get other people involved. We all like to play with players that want to give us assists so we can score. But the other stat that he led the NBA in were actually physical touches, high fives and fist bumps and even pats on the butt. And the only reason I know that was there was a research team from UC Berkeley, and they were conducting an official study, and they wanted to measure to see if showing signs of enthusiasm actually equated to winning more games on the court. So they had a research team watch every minute of every NBA game and make a tally mark every single time a player gave a high five, a fist bump, or a pat on the butt. And the Phoenix Suns, who Nash played for at the time, were so enamored with this study that they hired a full-time intern to just count for Steve Nash. And in the very first game that the intern recorded, in one NBA game, Steve Nash delivered 239 high fives, fist bumps, and pats on the butt. That's a lot. He's a furnace of human connection. And the reason I tell you that is because it's actually been proven, scientifically proven, that you can raise someone's game and you can transfer energy simply through physical touch. That you giving a high five or a fist bump or a word of encouragement can actually help someone raise their level of play and their performance. So not only was Steve Nash one of the best ball handlers, best shooters, and best playmakers that we've seen in the last 25 years, he's also one of the best teammates because he understood that he had the power of making other people better through high fives and fist bumps and words of encouragement. And that's something every single one of us has control over. You may not be able to handle the ball, pass, or shoot to the level that Steve Nash can, but there's nothing preventing any of you from delivering 239 high fives and fist bumps during the next workout or during your next game. It's something you have control over. And I'll tell you, having spent a life in basketball and now spending a life in the corporate world, that arguably the most valuable skill that any human being can possess is the skill of making other people better. If you walk into a room or you walk into a gym and immediately the entire level goes up just by your mere presence, that is liquid gold. There is not a coach in the world or a CEO in the world who doesn't want you in their organization if you have that ability. And most of that ability comes from caring about other people and wanting them to do better, and then being very intentional about being able to give high fives and fist bumps and words of encouragement. You know, when you're at a camp like this, where each of you is trying to get better for yourselves, I respect that. And it's okay to have a little bit of selfishness in that regard. You should be here trying to take everything you can from this camp from a knowledge standpoint. But as soon as you can get past that and enter into phase 2, and that's also worry about making the person next to you better, even if you don't know them, that's an incredibly valuable skill set. And the only way we get better at any skill is through practice. So you need to practice verbalizing, praise for others. You need to practice high fives and fist bumps and picking other people up. Because if you can always behave to the best of your ability when no one's watching, and then you always have a concern for your teammates and everybody else, and you're trying to get them to be as good as they're capable of, those two things right there will get you as close to your potential as possible. And that should be every single one of our goal, is to become the best player and then eventually the best human being that we can be. And both of those things I just mentioned are controllable. At this point, you can't control your height. You can only control your weight to a certain degree. You can only control your athleticism to a certain degree, even your skill. But these types of things you are in 100% full control over. So I just wanted to plant those seeds with you guys before we head over to the Q&A, which is where we're heading over to now. And when we get over there, we'll kind of set the stage for it. But just know that Christian and I are 100% here to serve you guys. That's the only reason we're here. So if there's anything we can do to help you, if there's any question that you have, don't be embarrassed. Don't feel like it's a stupid question. You can ask something that's only personal to you, or you can ask something that you think would help the group. We'll do our best we can to, again, give you guys the type of information you need, because the goal is to leave this camp as a better version of yourself, as a player and a person, than when you came.